Hey, this is Nick from Nintendo Dads here with the review of Moonlighter, specifically the new DLC package entitled Between Dimensions. We want to give a big thanks to publisher 11-Bit Studios and developer Digital Sun for giving us a code so that we could get you fine folks a review. Now, before we jump into the DLC package, I want to give a quick synopsis of Moonlighter, just in case you haven't heard of it, or never played it. It originally dropped on the Switch November 2018. It's a mashup of a roguelite, dungeon crawler, and city builder, and a little bit of shopkeeper, all in one game. Basically, it hides its grinding in the form of shopkeeping. You go into the dungeon, there are 5, and now there's 6 with the DLC, come out with loot, keep some to craft, weapons, armor, and potions, and then sell the rest at your shop for the money needed to commission those crafted weapons and build up the village of Renoka with new shops. The catch with selling items at your shop is you don't know what the villagers of Renoka are willing to pay for these items till you start testing prices. Now, I beat Moonlighter late last year, and for my money, the game loop is super addicting, the music and pixel art always seem fresh, and it's a great experience. In the main game, my 2 biggest complaints, which I would say continue in the DLC, is that they don't always do a great job explaining what is available to you or how to use the mechanics in the game. The tutorial is often handled with pictures which feel like trying to decipher hieroglyphics at best. The creators spent the time to put cool content and mechanics in the game. They need to make sure the player can actually use them. Lastly, the storage system for many items you will collect in the game is 5 chests and 1 super large chest that holds 4 pages of items. This can become frustrating and a mess to organize, and some new method of how to handle all this would be greatly appreciated. Now on to the DLC. The Between Dimensions DLC kicks in once you've beaten the 5th dungeon, and what does it add? A ton of stuff. 1, the Wanderer dungeon, a 10-level dungeon with a few new mechanics, including 4 mini-bosses, now levels 2, 4, 6, and 8, and with 1 big baddie at level 10, of course. There is a new in-dungeon currency, green slime. You collect this throughout the dungeon. You can spend the green slime plus a little bit of coin to help you craft special items, including dungeon-only weapons. These weapons disappear from your inventory when you leave the dungeon. Potions and special elevators that act as shortcuts to levels 2, 4, 6, and 8. This is super helpful. Second, they add new weapon sets for each weapon type. These weapons are much more powerful than the weapons offered to you previously. After upgrading the new DLC weapons a bit, if you go back to the previous dungeon, you can pretty much walk through untouched. You feel crazy strong. You get a new armor set, and 1 new NPC where you can barter for interdimensional items that can't be found in a dungeon or are very rare drops. There are pets, companions? I don't know what you want to call them. Anyways, you find different eggs in the dungeon and then hatch a pet or companion or whatever, usually a friendly mini version of one of the dungeon enemies. This guy will follow you around and fight with you. Super helpful, actually. And a shop upgrade, which gives you a 6th chest to lose your items in, more spaces to display items, and a cool, mini vacuum, robot vacuum. What do they call those things? Robot vacuums? I don't know what they call them. Anyways, when I saw only 1 dungeon added, I was skeptical of the amount of content in the DLC. But this dungeon is hard mode for sure. They take you from feeling pretty overpowered after beating that 5th dungeon in the initial game, back to feeling like a weakling. But once you start crafting the new weapon sets of your choice and learning the new enemy patterns, you start to feel the satisfaction of mastering the dungeon and making it just a little bit further every time you play. Now let me tell you, Moonlighter was a game I loved. Top-down pixel art dungeon crawler with a quirky level-up system in the way of a shopkeeping and crafting. So in turn, I think the DLC is great, because the DLC is pretty much more of the same with just a few new mechanics. I will be the first to admit, Moonlighter isn't a game for everybody. If you're not a roguelite fan, not a fan of continual game loops, in the dungeon, out of the dungeon, sell your stuff, back in the dungeon, might want to pass. Moonlighter is normally $24.99 on the US eShop, with the DLC Between Dimensions an extra $6.99 on top of that. But right now, Nintendo has a summer sale for Moonlighter at $9.99, which means if you're interested, you get the full game for $17. If you ask me, that's a steal. Hey guys, I hope this has helped you make your decision on this game. Signing out. See you later. Game over, folks.